Hi, folks. This is an orientation video for AGSEM, the TA and Invigilator Union at McGill. If you're watching this, you're probably a first-time TA or a first-time grad student at McGill, maybe a second-time grad student. So the idea with this video is to give you a really quick intro to what a union is, what AGSEM is specifically, and what we've got going on right now, which is a lot of stuff. We are going into TA bargaining this fall, so that means we're going to be at the negotiating table with representatives of McGill to try to get things like a better wage, a much better wage. And we're also going to be trying to make sure that nobody works for free, which unfortunately is something that does happen quite a lot at McGill. Maybe not in your department, but definitely widespread. I will get into all of it in a little more detail. First, a little more about myself. My name is Emma. I use they, them pronouns. I am the Chief Delegate Mobilization for AGSEM, and I have been for a year and a half now. So what that means is that I do a lot of activities with education, building our collective power as TAs and invigilators. I try to get people to talk to each other and see how we can really generate power through solidarity and the melding of our ideas. I'm a third-year PhD student in the Department of Integrated Studies and Education, and I'm also the delegate for my department. It's really nice to meet you, and I would really love to meet you in person. If you are able to make it to a union event, please, notice the hairstyle and holler. I would love to chat with you. Okay, I will share these slides. Look at this. Welcome to the union. If you're a new grad student and you're not a part of the union yet, I really hope you will be. And if not, there are lots of ways that you can still participate in unionism and developing union culture at the university. So I would love to, wow, that's the outline of this presentation. We're going to start by talking about Union 101. I would love to ask you if you've been a part of a union already, but I can't because you're watching this as a video. So if you have been a part of a union already, this might be a little bit basic, but we'll give you kind of the overview of what unions are. If this is your first time in a union, welcome, welcome, welcome. My first union was also a TA union. And I really think that unionism in grad school is such an amazing thing. This is a time when you can be learning a lot about how to interact with employers and less than ideal labor conditions. It's something that will serve you in literally every single career or job path you take past this point, because all jobs have working conditions, and they can always be improved. We can always move towards a better world through solidarity. And maybe you'll tell me if you've been in a union when we meet at a rally or an event or something. So we'll talk about that first. Then we'll talk about the unfortunate reality of wage theft at McGill. We'll talk about our upcoming campaign, or ongoing already campaign, called No More Free Hours. And then we'll talk a little bit more about bargaining, trainings, and stuff like that. So yeah, let's start with this really brief overview of how things work without a union. So this is really big picture overview. Things were like this before AGSEM was created, in a hard-fought win 30 years ago. So the employer, who is McGill, we normally might think of McGill as a school, and it's true that they are a school, but in the case of being a teaching assistant and an invigilator, or a lecturer, or an instructor, or a janitor, or any type of other employment at the university, McGill is the employer. They employ us to do a job, they pay us, right? So they're our employer. Without a union, the employer gets to set almost all of the working conditions. So that means the wages, whether there's any benefits offered, which McGill offers very few benefits. The wages are often much lower than they should be. There's often a lot more like skimming off the top in terms of like not paying people for all of their hours. There's lots of inequity. And basically the employer gets to decide when workplace problems happen, not if, when workplace problems always happen. The only recourse that a worker might have is to go to the employer and say, hey, can you change this? Which the employer often does not want to. So this is really, really not ideal. There's a huge power imbalance between the workers and employers, and we just don't want that. So this, again, really big picture, like passing through a lot of details. This is how things work with a union. So when we do have a union, like has been the case for the past 30 years for TAs at McGill, the employer has to negotiate with all of us at once, not individually, all of us at once, to set the working conditions for us all. So wages, benefits, or protections against harassment and discrimination. All of those working conditions are then set in the collective agreement, which is a long document. You can get it in a bound copy like me. The collective agreement expires every few years. So this agreement expired in 2023, summer 2023, which doesn't mean that it isn't in force. It just means that we are going to get a new one. Right, when it expires, we go back to bargaining to try to make improvements for ourselves. And that's what the TA bargaining unit and really everyone who is involved in the TA union this fall is going to do. So the things that we have won through this process are much better wages. We have literally the best wages for TAs in the entire province of Quebec. Once again, that is not thanks to the employer McGill, that is thanks to AGSEM, the union. We have fair hiring practices, protection against harassment and discrimination, protection from working over the hours in the contract, and so much more. We can only really achieve all of these things when we enforce the collective agreement together, because McGill, frankly, is not interested in doing that for us. So I'll get to more of that later. So a little bit more about how AGSEM specifically looks as a union. It's quite large. So we have two bargaining units, TAs and invigilators. What that means is that, TAs and invigilators do different jobs. They have different collective agreements. They go to the bargaining table at different times. But we share resources. So we share dues, we share liberations from the university. So that's what the employer pays us, that we've won those sharing of funds through negotiations, again, through our collective agreement. We have, what is 2,400 plus 700? Haha. 3,100, approximately, the number varies a little bit. We have over 3,000 workers in our union, which means we are one of the largest unions on the island of Montreal, which is really incredible. Yes, so within this really large group of people, these smaller ovals describe people who are really actively involved with the sort of formal side of the union, right? Everyone is the union, but the formal kind of like, how do you like making a poster, putting together a presentation, doing this kind of thing, typically is done by the people who are in these ovals. So we have departmental delegates. Every single department has a TA delegate, and those that run their own exams have an invigilator delegate. Your department may or may not have someone in the position of a departmental delegate right now. And if you're curious about that type of position, that type of work, please contact me or reach out to Marta, whose email is at the end of this video. And also all of those emails in your TA handbook, which is a PDF that you should have received along with the link to this video. It'll probably also be in the description of this video. I have never made a video before. Can you tell? I'm doing okay. I'm doing great. You're doing great. Thank you for watching this. I really appreciate it. That's amazing. Watching this right now. That's so cool. So, right, we also have committees. There's a million committees. There's not. There's like 7 or something. I don't know. There's a lot. I'm on most of them. Um, that's a joke. I'm not on most of them. That would be unsustainable as an organizing practice. I just am tired a little bit. There's the mobilization committee, there's the bargaining committee, there's the queer working group, there's a group that's working on the relationship of wages to funding, like scholarships and stipends, and how we really need to work on those problems together in order to make any kind of progress at all. And also the executive committee. So, oh, maybe I did a little lagging. My computer is trying very hard. Um, the executive committee is like the president, who right now is Mario Hua, lovely guy, and our treasurer, Matei, very cheery, very tall, and our mobilization officer, Kirsten, and our communications officer, Marta, and our math campus officer, Air. And I'm just happy to name those people because I really love them. And it's a really wonderful time over here. You should come hang out sometime. Something that should be on this slide that isn't is that we have an office and we are in the process of putting together office hours so that they'll be open. It is at 3641 University. And we're gonna have snacks and coffee, and we have a couch, it's really comfy. Anyway, the work of all of these committees and delegates is paid for through dues and those liberations from the university. And that work is a huge part of how we win better wages, better benefits, healthcare, anybody? Yeah. One last thing, Union 101, please sign your union card. Every single time you get a TA or invigilator position, sign your union card. You can do it online. There are links on our website, agsem.ca. You're a member for 12 months after you sign, regardless of whether or not you're employed throughout that whole time, which is something that's really important to us as a grad student, employee union, where we have quite a lot of turnover. It's really, really helpful to maintain consistency. And so when you are a member, you can attend general assemblies, delegates councils, etc. Okay, please send your union card. It is so helpful to you, to us, everybody. Okay. I think this video is getting long and I really appreciate you sticking around. I couldn't make it any shorter and I am losing a little bit of focus. So I'm going to try to stay on track. We do the best we can. Except the employer sometimes doesn't do the best they can. Overwork and wage theft is a really unfortunate reality of being a teaching assistant at McGill. The last numbers that we have that are really reliable on this was a really well responded to survey, are from 2017, so 6 years ago. Almost half of TAs reported working over their contract hours. And on average, they worked 13 hours over. In today's wages, that is over $400. Yeah, so that's like a month's worth of good groceries. That's like a good chunk of rent for a lot of us. If you're into tattoos, that's like one large multicolored tattoo. Like, this is totally unacceptable. And the thing is that it's not the fault of TAs. You know, some TAs, yes, don't track their hours, and so by the end of the term, they're like, oh no, I did actually work over my contract hours, and that was a mistake that I made because I wasn't keeping track. But the thing is that what we have seen over and over, especially over the years as McGill reduces contract hours to TAs for the same amount of work, is that TAs work over their hours because they are doing a good job marking, giving feedback, attending tutorials, etc. Sometimes planning course content. And McGill expects us to do it in less and less time. And so we work for free because we want to finish our job and do a good job. McGill does not provide enough hours for us to fulfill our duties and is very happy, frankly, to pocket the wages that they should be paying us to make TAing and classes functional, let alone good. Some people are working a lot more than this at Mac campus, which you may be at. There are a lot of people who are getting 45-hour contracts for being a lab TA and regularly working twice the number of hours in our contract. That is over $1,500 a term that the employer is stealing in wage theft. This isn't okay. We don't like this. I don't like this. You don't like this. Nobody likes this except, again, the people who benefit from it, which is the employer and in particular their profit line. Look, the fact is that our collective agreement and Quebec labor law state, whoa, of course, that you must be paid for all of your hours at the hourly rate of $33.03 an hour. Okay, so what are we going to do about this? Here's one piece of the puzzle, the workload form. Okay, this is one tool that we can all use to prevent overwork and wage theft. It is a form that is widely available. It is in the collective agreement. It is also available if you just Google teaching assistant workload form, AGSEM. You should fill it out at the beginning of term with your supervisor. Sit down, have a meeting, chat about it, say, okay, what are the things that you need me to do? I'm going to be marking how many assignments. How long are these assignments? How long are they going to take? And you say, okay, I'm going to estimate that I take 45 minutes per week to mark these assignments. I'm going to take 7 hours to mark the midterm. You fill all of this out. Then you track your hours very, very diligently over the course of the term so that you know when you spent actually an hour and a half marking those assignments a week instead of 45 minutes. When you actually took 10 hours to mark the midterm, or maybe you took 6 hours, who knows? You're going to review the workload form in the middle of term again with your supervisor so you can say, hey, I have been working more than we thought on those assignments, and I could be doing it faster, but I really am feeling that these students need more feedback, which is a perfectly normal and good thing to say because feedback is crucial to education, as we are well aware. Being in the educational systems ourselves intentionally for more years than is necessary. Okay. If you are on track to reaching the number of hours in your contract before the end of term, you have a couple of options. One option is to say, hey, course supervisor, can we rearrange this stuff so that, I don't work more than I'm going to be paid for? Another option is to ask the course supervisor to ask the department for more payment, for more money to pay you for more hours, which sometimes is approved, sometimes it is not approved. Okay. Those are two options. Regardless of what option you take at this stage, be very firm with your supervisor. Don't have to be unkind, but you're not working for more hours than you're paid. You're following the law, you're following your collective agreement. You're not working for more hours than you're being paid. If you want to work more hours, you're going to have to be paid for them. Even when you take this very seriously, working for free can still happen. You might imagine that you just don't have that great of a relationship with your supervisor. She maybe is telling you you're too slow. She's maybe saying that hour and a half that you're taking to mark those assignments, I need you to stop. Like you're just taking your time, you're dilly-dallying, you're too slow. And I want to take a minute to just slide in here and say, you're not too slow. You're not. The thing about being too slow is that you're actually trying to do a good job. You're trying to provide an amount of feedback that is in line with a good educational outcome. The other thing about being too slow is that almost every single TA I have ever spoken to, and I have spoken to a lot, thinks that they are too slow. So it cannot possibly be that we are all too slow. I think what is actually happening is that McGill is not paying us enough, is not providing us with enough hours to do work that is genuinely in line with providing a good education. So I would love to do this exercise with people who are able to chat with each other, but you're probably watching this video alone, which is fine. Hopefully you're like sitting in bed and you're like comfy or something. I don't know. Maybe you're also listening to music. Maybe you're not. Maybe that doesn't work for you. You can imagine this type of situation and think about what you might do. There are lots of possible options here. I'm going to give you a few, okay? Here's just a couple. If your degree supervisor is really supportive of you, God bless supportive supervisors. We know that not all of them are. You might get them involved. You might say, hey, listen, my TA supervisor is like pushing me to work more than I'm getting paid for it, and that's not fair, and I need your help. Can we strategize? You might want to talk to other grad students, people who are in your cohort. It's also an extremely good idea to request workload forms from this course, which you can do by emailing your departmental delegate and the administration of the department. Always go for the delegate, you know, they're friendly. You can get evidence of how much work this course has taken before. Of course, sometimes workload forms are not filed. Sometimes they're inaccurate. As you know, mentioned before, a lot of people work over their hours and don't necessarily report it. But you can also speak to people who have TA'd the course before and say like, hey, did this really take you 45 hours? Because what course takes 45 hours of TA? Almost none. You might consider emailing a department chair. Sometimes that's a good idea, but sometimes it is not. Department chairs really vary in their level of support of grad students. I'm really sorry to say. But yes, contact your delegate. That's always a good idea. So those are just, you know, a couple things. Here's what I really want to talk about though. We have to enforce our collective agreement ourselves, right? It's a document. It's very useful. McGill, as an employer, is not interested in enforcing it for us. We have to do it together. And so starting this fall, in 2023, AGSEM, all of us are doing no more free hours. We're saying no more wage theft. And here's how we're doing it. You know, we're doing the thing of filling the workload form with our supervisor, keeping track of the hours precisely, and telling the supervisor, listen, I'm sorry, but I'm not working for free. We are building collaborative groups across departments, usually located within the same faculty, to support each other through this potentially difficult conversation and resisting various types of pressures, whether it's from a supervisor, a department chair, or elsewhere. We have currently and are still developing a bunch of resources like flyers that you can hand out to your students, talking points, saying like, hey, it's not that I don't care about this course. Of course I care about this course. It's that, listen, like, you know, everybody needs to be paid fairly, and McGill as an employer is not doing that. And so, you know, if it's the case that you're not able to mark everybody's final, which, you know, is a thing that might happen for some people, it's not on you, it's on McGill. And we're really looking to build as much collaboration as we can with undergrads, non-TA grad students, course lecturers, instructors, and professors as we can. A lot of people are really on our side about this. And so always trying to build collaboration. None of these people are the employer, right? The employer is really like the board of governors and the principal. So there are lots and lots of strategies that we are working on developing right now. The date that I am recording this on is August 21st. So some things probably have already been rolling out by the time you are watching this. We're also launching this particular campaign at our August 30th rally, which will be at Sherbrooke and McTavish, 11 to 1. There will be lunch. We'll have a good time. Yeah. Okay, no more free hours is going to build our collective power. We are going to show McGill that we collectively are not going to work for free. You know, you as a first-time TA, you're never going to work for free. Congrats. And you're going to support and be supported by people who have been TAs for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years already, who are going to say very strongly, I am not working for free anymore. You need to give us the hours to do our jobs and do them well, because education matters to us. We're teachers. We're teaching assistants. We're teachers. Building our collective power is going to be so useful for bargaining, right? Our collective agreement as TAs, so for Unit 1 of AGSEM, it's up for renegotiation starting this fall. We are looking for a huge raise among many other improvements. We're looking for healthcare and more protection from harassment and discrimination, and lots of other things to win those extremely better wages, to win contract hours that respect the actual amount of time that it takes to do a good job being teaching support. We need to build our power and show McGill the truth that McGill works because we do. So we're doing no more free hours, we're doing rallies, we're playing with the idea of open bargaining, which is where all of us are able to show up. As many of us as we can are able to show up to the room where the bargaining is happening and listen into the things that they actually say at the negotiating table, because frankly, they can be really horrifying. Whew. Okay, one more thing that is a little bit separate from this. Well, not really, because we've been talking about the quality of education this whole time. Improve your teaching. Learn about how a little bit to use more equity related skills in the classroom. A whole bunch of stuff is offered through skill sets. If you are a first-time TA at McGill, you are eligible to get paid for up to 3 hours of training in addition to your contract hours. If you have an 80-hour contract, you can go take 3 hours of training. You will get 3 paid hours from skill sets. You can check out this website. The link is also in your TA handbook. I highly recommend it because, again, the quality of education is something that really matters to me, and I am sure that it matters to you. Please keep in touch. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching this video all the way through. I know it was a little bit long. I was like, I'm gonna do this in 5 minutes. Hilarious, hilarious. But me doing this a little bit longer meant that I did a little bit lower mental load on myself for this particular task. And I hope you're able to take that energy into the rest of your day. Please keep in touch. This is how we build solidarity, and we will do our best as people who are already established in the union to keep in touch with you. Please join us if this is before August 30th when you are reading or watching this. Please join us for the first day of school rally. We're celebrating the launch of No More Free Hours. We're going to be at McTavish and Sherbrooke. There will be burgers and poutine, both veg and non-veg, 11 to 1. Really slick, fun, fiery speeches. There'll be chanting, there'll be singing, there'll be dancing. It'll be fun. I will try to talk to you, I promise. We're also going to have a TA unit assembly. It is on September 12th. I am pretty sure that it is at 5:30 and that it is in Leacock 738. But those details should be forwarded to you in an email. Please, please keep an eye for the AGSEM newsletters. And also register for these things on our website, agsem.ca. Merci beaucoup pour votre attention. Vous êtes en Montréal maintenant, alors c'est bilingue tout le temps. Uh, Thank you so much for your attention. It's always bilingual in Montreal, even though my French is very poor. If you have any questions or want to talk more, please contact Marta at mail at agsem-ta.ca, and read your TA handbook. I would love to answer your questions right now, but I can't because once again, you're watching this on a video. So that's okay. We'll talk later, okay? um, yeah, this was fun. I hope you had fun. Thanks for your attention. Okay, see you later. Bye. I stop. Bye.